Zealand to collect sediment samples that will let me understand the role of New Zealand as a source of dust to the ocean and Antarctica during the last ice age. So to tackle this question, we're going all around the South Island of New Zealand from about Christchurch south, all the way through Otago and Southland, currently here in the Southern Alps. And in all these places I'm collecting sediment samples of the material that was being produced by these glaciers, eroded by the glaciers out of the Southern Alps mountains, washed out in great outwash plains to the ocean, and from there lifted up by the winds and transported to the ocean and to Antarctica. It's important to understand the sources of dust and the transport history of dust in the atmosphere, because dust is a major factor in the climate system. It influences Earth's albedo or reflectivity and the ability of clouds to form, and it also is a source of a nutrient, iron, to the oceans, where it can stimulate primary production. Especially in the southern ocean around Antarctica, the algae, or phytoplankton, do not have enough iron to grow and to take advantage of the other nutrients available in the water. And so when they have an input of iron, such as from dust, they're actually able to perform more photosynthesis and thereby impact the carbon cycle. And not all sources have the same amount of iron or iron in the same form. And the type of iron in the sediment or in the dust is important for the phytoplankton because they can use ferrous iron or iron 2+ more easily than iron 3+ or ferric iron. And fresh glacially weathered material called glacial flour, this fine-grained silt that I've been collecting here in New Zealand, tends to have more of the ferrous form of iron that the phytoplankton can use. My hypothesis is that New Zealand was a very important source of dust to the ocean and may have really contributed to iron fertilization of the ocean during the last glacial period. So right here behind me is a glacier filled with debris. Much of that debris is the fine-grained silt that I've been collecting. So I've come here to the source, here high up in Mount Cook National Park, to collect some of the modern silt samples melting out of the current glaciers that you see here today. And these glaciers all around the park are retreating in response to current warming. During the last ice age, these mountain glaciers merged to form an enormous valley glacier that went out and filled the valley currently occupied by Lake Pukaki. And all the major valleys in the Southern Alps had these large glaciers. And so altogether, they had an incredible force producing fine-grained sediment that was then blown into the atmosphere as dust. But I've also been out at the coast sampling large cliffs of outwash material that was being taken out by rivers during the last glacial period. And I've been in Southland collecting wind-blown dust called lus that was being produced by these mountains. One of the joys of doing fieldwork is to be able to see different places and camp in a beech forest in Fiordland and also along the coast in southern Otago by the beach. That was really beautiful. I feel really lucky to have had the opportunity to see so many beautiful places here in New Zealand. The results of this work may sort of upset the status quo of current scientific thought about the relative roles of New Zealand and Australia as dust sources. It's really exciting to be thinking about big picture climate questions and to find a way to address some of the unknowns in Earth's climate history.